You're watching She's Gone Country, growing up on the Christensen Brothers Rodeo Ranch. Becky and Vicki are sharing the roots of rodeo and connecting the generations with stories behind the stories of our rich Western heritage. Keeping the spirit of the American cowboy and cowgirl alive, they are the CB Cowgirls.
Well, happy Wednesday and welcome to Roper Cowboy Marketplace, and we are happy that you're here. This is She's Gone Country. We're the CB Cowgirls. I'm Becky. This is my co-host, Aunt Vicki, and you are experiencing our show live at the WNFR here in Las Vegas.
Wow, Becky, it's been a terrific week. I can't believe it's Wednesday. It's hump days. Anybody need a little push on over towards the weekend?
Well, you know, we say that, but we just came from the Orleans. We had our Heart for Worship service, and it was fabulous.
That was the lift.
We had some great musicians. We had some great speakers, and I just feel uplifted. I know you were busy playing Grammy duties.
Hey, I had a great time. I got to hang out with y'all for a while, and I was there with heart with you, but my heart was also with that special little grandson of mine, Pecos Tatum, and he roped in the Resist All shootout at the Orleans Arena. So we had a fantastic morning.
How'd he do?
He ended up, let's see, I just spoke with Keeley, 4th in the average and won 4th in the first go. So he was one happy little roper.
Let me tell you something real quick about Pecos. They did a Calcutta yesterday, and I have to tell you, and I'm not trying to bag because he's just my cousin and everything, and I'm not proud or anything, but he went for $85, which is double what I think most of them were getting. Not that all the other kids weren't great, but I was pretty impressed by that.
Well, and I learned my lesson with Calcuttas a few years ago at the Roy Cooper Invitational. I bought Pecos, and it was $50 or something. Well, I didn't realize it was 50 times 6. And I'm like, holy moly. But anyway, we've had a fantastic morning, very uplifting.
Yes.
Love Crystal Lions, the Brants, everyone that was there.
Yes, and of course we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Boyd Gaming Shootout, American Hats, Trace Rios. We could not do our broadcast without you, so we appreciate you. We are filming live for the Cowboy Channel, so if we take some breaks, please don't get up off your seats and leave. Stay here, so we are live and we are recording. So I want to bring to the stage our beautiful ambassador for She's Gone Country with the CB Cowgirls, Miss Bobbie Jeen Olson.
Hey, Bobbie. Welcome, welcome. Happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you. And like Becky said, we came back from the heart of worship, and I don't think my feet are touching the ground. I was supposed to be there. My heart is just overflowing with joy and gratitude. So, Becky, thank you for what you did this morning for all of us.
Absolutely. And it was a great time. And so we get here, and we have a lineup of guests, and we're just going to get going and get them on the stage. We have a special guest from RFD TV. It's Mr. Kevin Holten from Special Cowboy Moments. And of course, my dear favorite, loving Uncle Rob. See how I do that? I'm loving Uncle Rob. Smets. And he is hosting a new show on Ride TV. And the great thing about us all being up here is we all have a heart and a passion for the same thing. Some call it Re-Ride Stories. We call it the history and the legacy and the stories behind the stories. So thanks, guys, for coming.
Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome.
Okay, so Kevin, I met you in Pendleton this year. And it was so funny. We were in Pendleton, and I was just standing there watching the rodeo. And he kind of taps me on the shoulder. He says, "Hey, who are you?" And so I turned around, I introduced ourselves, and we just started talking and struck up a great conversation. And share with our audience and our listeners or our viewers a little bit about what your project is and what your passion is that started in North Dakota.
Well, our project is a television show which airs on Wednesday nights on RFD TV at 8:30 Central called Special Cowboy Moments. And we actually started out producing the show for NBC North Dakota. And after about a year and a half of doing 40 to 50 shows, RFDT picked us up and put us on in prime time, so we're very appreciative of that fact. So it jumped us from an audience of under 1 million to 55 million households. And the show is all about...
I'm going to have you hold that mic up just a little bit closer.
Closer?
There you go.
The show is all about preserving Western history. That's what it's about. So it's an interview format, and we do interview rodeo legends like Rob Smets, but we also interview ranchers and inspirational stories. And it's interesting how the show has evolved, and it wasn't planned this way, but no matter who we interview, it seems like they came to a really challenging part in their life and almost gave up, but persevered somehow. So in ways that were not under our control, the show has become a show of hope in many ways, because people see that and they say, okay, those people are just like me. They just persevered. That's all.
Well, Kevin, you know, just what you said about a show of hope and inspiration. We're all here together to lift each other up. And I just think that, you know, our roots are so important. We were visiting the other day, and the youth of today, so many of them, they don't know where they're going to as they step out in life. So they need to know where they came from, and that's the roots. And Rob Smets, you have some deep roots too.
Well, I was gonna give one little bit of input, because if you open the good book, and in the book of James, he tells us, consider it pure joys for the trials that we face, because it gives us the patience to be able to persevere.
Exactly.
And anybody
And we
that's in
do
the
know where
Western
we're going.
industry, they all have been tried. We've all been tried and tested, and fortunately, we keep walking on, keep stepping forward, keep walking toward the light, and things are going to happen in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Well, and I know, Kevin, we were talking, and you had made a comment that I thought was very interesting, because your son is also partnering with you, and I know you have 2 projects that you're working on, but there's an interesting fact that tell us about the age demographic that really starts engaging in the history, because it's important that we do both generations, but there is a particular age.
Well, I think you do have to reach a certain age before you take a super interest in history, and that seems to be, like, the demographics for our show on RFD, Special Cowboy Moments, is like 35 and above. And then we're working on another show for another network, actually, that caters to an audience that is 35 and below. And that's an audience that needs, you know, a constant feeding of information, action, 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 action. Whereas Special Cowboy Moments is more of a show that you savor. You kind of sit back and you feel like you're having a conversation with these people. So there's a difference there depending on who you're trying to reach.
Well, and with your show, Kevin, what we watch, what we listen to, really affects our lives, even when we don't realize it. And by what you are doing with putting out real stories, touching lives, showing people that we have all gone through it, and that you can still lead by example. When you're doing these shows, did you realize that there were going to be so many people that were going to come to you and say thank you for all you are doing with what you are putting out there?
Well, actually, our sponsors are even getting calls from people thanking them for sponsoring these episodes. And it's not so much us. We're the ones turning on the cameras. The popularity of the show really comes from when you're talking to a guy like this guy, and they're kind of bearing their soul, but they're telling it like it is. It's real, you know, it's real stuff. And you can see that. And even when I'm interviewing somebody, and I think that I've seen everything, you know, their expressions, I've heard every bit of their answers, all of that. When I look back at it again on film, it's times 5 again. And so, you know, that's what people are appreciating. They're appreciating those true stories that are so inspirational.
Well, and I know, Uncle Rob, you have a new show that you've started, and it's funny because, again, it's a full gamut. He's talking about the full Western way of life, and your show, I believe, is more focused on the rodeo heroes and legends, specifically
Mine
to rodeo.
is more rodeo-oriented, but very similar, because I shot 6 episodes out here at the Sands Convention Center the past 6 days I did Donnie Gay the first day, Donnie Gay and Ricky Boland, world champion Martha Josie the next day, David Moats and Jet Johnson the third day, 2 world champion team ropers. Gary LeFew the 4th day. World champion Cody Custer the next day, Uncle Cody. And then yesterday I was with Rope Myers.
Wow.
So the show's it's going to be called Heroes and Legends. It's the first year that Ride TV's gone with it, so it was an opportunity, my first time to be on that side of the fence and start asking the questions and getting to share. But, you know, it was all heroes of mine and guys that have played important parts in my life. Rope Myers was actually giving his testimony at Lynn Shaw's in Twin Falls, Idaho, the day Rob Smets went to his knees and asked Jesus into his life.
Oh, well, wow. And I'm going to have you hold that.
Cody Custer was my roommate at the PBR for 3 years. You know, I mean, there are guys that are... Gary LeFew, I've done several schools with. Donnie Gay, I've been around forever. So to get to share with those guys and reminisce some old moments is second to none.
We are visiting with just a great group of folks up here. One's very dear to my heart, of course, is my Uncle Rob Smets, and he is the new host of Ride TV Network's up-and-coming Heroes and Legends. And then, of course, we have the executive producer of RFD TV's Special Cowboy Moments. And it's just a fun time for us because we all have passion for preserving our history and our legacy and our Western way of life. So thank you guys for joining us. And before the break, Uncle Rob was sharing a little bit about some of the stories that are coming out of his show. So I want to pick right back up where we left off.
Well, like I said, I was blessed to have Cody Custer in there. Cody and I'd roommated for years. Cody spoke into my life. In fact, Cody was at Lynn Shaw's in Idaho the day I got saved too. The big thing, I'll take 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. It's not a preaching service here. Our Lord and Savior is merciful and forgiving. He's standing there with his arms wide open. All we have to remember is we just got to turn around and ask for it. And that's a big thing I want to let everybody know here today.
Amen.
Now, Rob, you and I actually have a fun history together, and
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
been how many years since we have seen each other? And when we first saw each other this morning at the Heart of Worship service, what was your comment?
Well, I told you it was so good to see you. I mean, it's been 20 plus years. We've known each other at least 27. Used to live just a couple blocks apart when Carla and I first got together in New Mexico. You know, our God is merciful and forgiving. And, you know, if anybody can testify to that, it is me, because I tried him way harder than you're supposed to. But, you know, he let me come back on this side of the fence, and I'm going to stay in this pasture. I ain't climbing fences.
Amen. You also said, look how far we've came. And with so many of these cowboys and cowgirls, there have been huge struggles. And that is one thing that you both are bringing to the table, is showing people that even though we have the struggles, have the heartache, the pain, we can overcome them with faith and family.
I agree 100%. And if we'll just keep walking it out, we can't be on the wrong side of the fence and expect the Father to answer our prayers. That's against everything he stands for. But if we'll get on the right side of the fence and we go to him, it's not always going to be easy. We get saved and, you know, we want to think it's going to be a bundle of joy. And nowhere in that book does it tell us it's going to be easy. He tells us, get ready. They're going to come at us and we're going to get tried. But you know what? He also promises us that he's with us every step of the way.
Absolutely. Well, I have a question for you, Kevin, and I know that you have a special story to share. Can you share that with us?
Any one particular one that you've experienced while you've been out filming that's really kind of just touched you and left
really
you?
Grabbed you.
Oddly enough, some of our most popular programs have not been the big-time rodeo stars. It's not the Ty Murray and the Larry Mahan. It's Juan Reyes. Juan Reyes was born in Cuba, and when he was 11 years old, that's when Castro took over in Cuba, and his family shipped him to America. And he was in a refugee camp, first there, and then in Washington. Now, this is an 11-year-old kid with no parents in a refugee camp. And he was in the refugee camp all through high school. He graduated from high school in a refugee camp. And then ended up going to Wyoming, and he started working on ranches. And then he started becoming a foreman at ranches. And then he started investing in ranches with, you know, people, with investors. And now he feeds like 7,000 head of cattle. The governor of Wyoming has appointed him to agricultural commissions, so he has traveled abroad for the state of Wyoming. He's the national cattle dog training champion, and just a great and very successful and inspirational guy. You know, and he also specializes in selling of high altitude bulls. So, you know, that's a story. You know, a very poignant, interesting story that has nothing to do with world champions.
Right, but it has everything to do with the heart, and that's the heart of the cowboy and the American West and the way that we choose to live our lives. We have choices, and that's what a wonderful tribute to that young man.
Yeah, great family. The family tradition is continuing. His children are taking over the operation. It'll continue for a long time to come. But we run into a lot of stories like that. Every time we do a story, 5 more stories develop, and they're all inspirational in one way or another. It's amazing.
Well, and I think it's important that with what you both are doing and what we do, and preserving that lifestyle, it's a character trait. It's about, you know, courage and honor and perseverance and all the things that make this Western world the way it is. And what what we need to do to give a little bit of that back. In fact, when I first got down here, I was looking out through my window and I was looking over at Mandalay Bay, and it's like, sprinkle a little bit of cowboy dust down here in Vegas in the community and the people, because there is something unique and special about the way we're able to grow up and the way we live our life. I know, Uncle Rob, you're not, you didn't get to grow up when you were younger. You were a baseball player and you lived down in California, but you came to the Western world and it's become your way of life. So, I mean, it's a testament to how the culture can pull others from the outside in.
The great thing about it is we've got to have values and you've got to have integrity, and that's one thing that the people of the cowboy culture are about. Make your handshake mean something. Be able to look somebody in the eye. When guys come to my bullfighting schools, Miles Hare and I put on all over the United States, I tell those kids two things at the end of the day. I said, number one, you can never be in too good a shape. You cannot get there, okay? And in this business, even when there is a successful ride or a successful bullfight, somewhere through there you've took a shot, you've took a hit, you've got to be able to recover in a hurry. Number two, you can never be too polite. You say yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. It will open doors for you. There's not a better thing that can happen than when a kid gets done and a guy goes, that's a good kid there. The thing about good kids, people want to help good kids. That kid that's got the quick last answer to everything, they could have a flat tire right here, and you're going to stand here and watch him change the tire. That same kid that was really polite could be right there in the middle of a rainstorm, and you're going to want to be out there in the middle of it with him trying to help out. You can never be too nice. You can't ever help, and you're going to reap what you sow sooner or later.
That is true. That is true.
And Rob, I have seen kids lined up for a mile waiting to get your autograph, waiting to meet the world champion, and you have just started leading by example in so many ways. And how many of them have came back to you and said, Rob Smets, you are my hero. Thank you for touching my life, because I know so many of them have.
Bobbie, I was blessed to play a game I loved for a long, long time, and the Father opened doors. I put up a thought for the day on Facebook, and the biggest thing that I try to make sure that I show people there is this has been a 20-year journey. It didn't happen overnight. I didn't accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and all of a sudden everything went right, and that Rob Smets did everything right. There's been plenty of times I've had to go to my knees, ask for forgiveness, get up and go on. And fortunately now, Rob Smets does walk the walk. And the biggest thing about it, if we want to be able to touch lives, you've got to walk it. You can't just talk it. When the opportunity comes to speak into some of those young lives, which happens more and more now because they do see it, then if that's where God wants me, I want to be a shining light, and I want to be able to let them know that He is there for them.
Well, and I'm just gonna speak up now that even when you haven't hit your knees and accepted Christ, God sees what's in you, and so do some of the people around you, and you played a very special part in my life before that happened. So He saw it, He knew, and guess what? Look where you are today. So, it's all good. It all works itself out. So I'm thankful for you before and after. So
Absolutely. I agree, Rob.
Well, we have about a minute and a half left before we have to take a hard break, and I just wanted to have you both share with our audience, how do they find your show? How do they find out more information? Because I know you, Kevin, have a website, and I know, Rob, you're doing many things as well. So I'll start with you, Kevin, and let you share how to find you.
Well, like I said, on RFD TV, our show airs at 8:30 Central Time and on Wednesday evenings, and then they air it again at 11:30 that night, and then they air it again at 11:30 on Sunday. So those are the times that you'll see it. If you do want to see past episodes, you can go to gatheringcowboyhistory.com and look at past episodes, or you can go to the RFD TV website too, and you will find them posted there.
Wonderful. And Uncle Rob?
We're still just shot the first 6 episodes right here. I've been told they'll air sometime in March. I don't have a date yet. As soon as I know, on my Facebook page, we'll post it on there. You can also go to ridetv.com, and they should have the postings there.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say just real quick, as I'm actually getting teary-eyed, sitting next to amazing people that live, love, and promote rodeo and the Western way of life like you guys are. It's an honor to be on stage with the both of you, with Aunt Vicki. I just on cloud nine. You guys are amazing gentlemen.
Kevin and
Thanks for
Rob,
having us.
thank you so very, very much. You've touched a lot of hearts this morning.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you
so much for joining us. We have a special guest joining us now on stage, and I'm going to actually turn over to Aunt Vicki to introduce because I know he's pretty special, Aunt Vicki.
Well, absolutely, he is special, and you can ask his beautiful wife, Holly, sitting right out there, and she will agree with us. We are so happy to have on stage today a singer-songwriter from Fort Worth, Texas, and we're going to visit with him a little bit more here after he plays a song or two. Mr. Randy Brown. Welcome, Randy.
Thanks for having me, girls. Thank you. It's the prettiest stage I've ever been on in my life. Well, this is a song that it's about traveling a lot, traveling through Texas, the United States, the world. It's all about it right here. Well, I need one big hit. I drink too much beer. I play 3-chord country. Lord, I have 4 years. I've got these 5 musicians and my 6-piece band. And at the 7-Eleven, we just ate. We're 9 gigs into 10 one-night stands. I got 1,100 springs in my 12-ounce can, and my days are numbered. Yes, my days are numbered. I stay on encumbered. I don't get much slumber. Everything is numbered. My days are numbered. But I got to keep on moving till I'm gone. I sleep till 1 on Monday. I play Tuesday night, and then a 3-day road trip takes me for a ride. I got a 5 o'clock shadow and a 6-pack buzz, and the 7th one was colder than that 8th one was. We played a 9 o'clock dance at a 10-roofed home. At 11 we were rocking after 12 last call. And my days are numbered. Yes, my days are numbered. I stay on encumbered. I don't get much slumber. Everything is numbered. My days are numbered. But I got to keep on moving till I'm gone. With syrup on a 3-week 2 through 4 countries in Europe. I know 5 new ways to order 6 beers for Lee's. And for the 7th straight day, Lord, I had 8 Swiss cheese. I found out that 9 means no for the 10th time. 11 beers closer to my 12-step program, and my days are numbered. Yes, my days are numbered. I stay on encumbered. I don't get much slumber. Everything is numbered. My days are numbered. But I got to keep on moving till I'm gone.
Woo! Very nice.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
He's going to get that guitar unplugged and come over here and join us on stage.
He is, and we've got some questions for Randy Brown.
Well,
This-
I just have a funny story. Is my first experience to Randy Brown's music was a few years ago in Vegas, and with my where's my Uncle Bud at? Oh, he's down there. That man can dance, and he can dance to your music, and he taught me how to dance. He outdanced me.
He can outdance most people. I'll tell you, he's a dynamite guy. I'll tell you what, he's something else. He's my hero. I'll tell you that.
He's mine too. Thanks,
I know.
Randy.
Yeah.
You know, Randy, we just have a few minutes, but you know, you grew up in Fort Worth. I mean, Cowtown,
Yes, ma'am.
and just what a great place to
grow your music.
Yeah, to grow your
yeah,
music.
Fort Worth. You know, of course, you brag about your hometown. I love Fort Worth. It's the greatest musical town ever. I mean, everybody always talked about Austin. Well, Austin was a lot of different styles of music. Fort Worth was country. Everything from hardcore honky tonk to western swing to just dance music to whatever. Fort Worth is a country music town, and everything that they've got going on still to this day right now, some of the best pickers, some of the best players, some of the best singers, some of the best writers all come from Fort Worth. And even your guys like Willie Nelson, they spent time living in Fort Worth. I mean, Fort Worth is the deal. Bob Wills, all those guys, it's all a Fort Worth deal. So, yeah, if any of y'all are wondering, if you'd like for me to sit here and be the ambassador for Fort Worth, I could be here all day long. I can do
the
that.
official ambassador for Fort
Absolutely.
Worth, and you should be.
Well, Randy, I have to brag on you. We could brag all day about this phenomenal artist. You were just honored as the 2017 True Country Artist of the Year. You were presented with, I have to say, a Tres Rios buckle.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about this honor.
It's basically an award. And I was nominated with some of my heroes. Some like a Gary P. Nunn was in there in that deal with us too, and I was very honored to be that. What it basically meant to me is like people really still respect real country music, and it was just an honor to get that. And it was a fan-based deal. I mean, it was just basically the grassroots deal, and we won it. And I was honored with it. I got the buckle from you guys, Tracy Rios, and my man Bud we talked about earlier, and I wear it with pride all the time. And it really meant the world to me because it was like I'm with my guys that are like heroes that I looked up to. And I won the thing, and I was like, man, I felt bad. I was like, what? Well, I would have voted for you. You know what I mean? I was like, but so it worked out really good, and I was really honored to do it. It was a very, very cool thing, and I'm blessed. Very blessed.
And you have been doing this for over 20 years with the ups and the downs. And as you go through the time of singing and performing, you have to really let people know that dreams do come true.
Absolutely. We talked about it was like it's funny. We were talking about it a second ago. It's like the longer you go in this thing and the more fun you have, all of a sudden those downs, you really don't remember the downs very much. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you're struggling, the ups and the downs, you're like, oh, I gotta do this again. But like now, it's like no bad days. I have no bad days at all. I have nothing to complain about. I'm a very blessed person, and I get to do what I love to do for a living. I get to make people smile. And I get to have fun with people. I get to meet people and have fun and travel and
travel.
I'm a paid tourist. You know what I mean? I love that. So I get to do this. I wouldn't be able to get to do this if I didn't play music. So I'm just blessed, and I have no bad days and I have no complaints.
Well, and I have a question. What would you say the one piece of advice you would give to a new music artist coming up trying to make a way for themselves? I'm sure there's plenty, but there's got to be just like one particular thing, like, man, I just wish I wouldn't have done that.
Well, first of all, if it's 80% versus the door, don't do that. Then no, that's all. I don't really have any advice because the thing is, I believe that, in my personal opinion, I believe that the most of the lessons from college to everything I've ever done in my life, I feel like I've learned most of my lessons by messing up. Kid, don't touch that. It's hot. What did I do? That's hot. You know what I mean? And so I really think it's like, I have a lot of people I really think a lot of that are younger that I deal with all the time, and I'm blessed to be around,
Oh,
and
good choice.
and I tell them all the time, I'm like going, hey man, you're going to make your mistakes, but that's it. If I tell you about it, it's not going to sink in as much as you just getting branded. Once you get branded, you'll never do that again, And so that's kind of the way I feel about it. Like, hey, everybody's got to walk their own road, and I'll support you 100%, and I'll try to help anybody I can. But some of it, you're just going to have to, you got to trust your own cape.
Trust your sails.
Set
your sails.
Trust your journey.
Yep,
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that's what
Exactly.
my bracelet
Trust your
says.
journey.
Another Trace Rios, by the way.
Very nice, yeah. I need one of those. I'm kind of blingless today. I don't know.
Well,
you
we're
have this
down-
gorgeous buckle on.
I do have this
think you're
gorgeous
gonna
buckle
have to
on, yeah,
show
I
the
do,
gorgeous
yeah.
buckle off.
Yeah.
Well, we're down to just a minute before we have to go to a break, but tell our listeners and our audience that's watching at home, where would they find your music?
You can find my music on all the iTunes and all the Spotify, all those stations. You can do all that. We have a website, randybrownmusic.com. We've been doing this so long. When we first started, we kind of giggled about this, but I actually came up with this idea, and I actually did it, and we had a huge success with it, and so we still pay $30 a year to have this. We have the website, www.neverheardofhim.com.
I love it. I love
So
it.
if y'all want to find me, neverheardofhim.com.
That's a great website.
You can look it up right now.
Absolutely.
Share it
Well,
with your friends.
Randy, very quickly, here in Vegas, what's going on in Vegas? Where are
Hey,
you at?
tonight, in fact, we've got to leave right here. We've got sound check today. We're playing at the Silverton Casino and Resort right out there. And beautiful facility. They're having a big rodeo watching party. And then after that, we're going to, as soon as the last deal goes, we're going to start playing country music, and we're going to play as long as anybody's still there. So
Awesome.
please don't show up at 4 asking for songs, but we'd hope you'd be there after the rodeo. But yeah, we'll play there. Silverton Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Neverheardofhim.com. That's where you're going to find him.
That's it. Randy Brown, thank you.
We are back, and we have got another great musician that we're going to bring to the stage. It's just one of those fun days where we're blessed with lots of guests and great music. So I'm going to just welcome to the stage right now, Carin Marie.
Beautiful.
It's so amazing the different sort of styles of country music that each and every person has to fit their individual styles.
Absolutely.
So, welcome. That was beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Very, very pretty. Well, now, singer-songwriter. Do you write most of your songs?
Yes, I do, actually. I started out singing Western music covers and old country covers, and then decided I wanted to tell my own stories. And so for the last 12 years, that's basically all I do is write songs.
Now, you had a very special audition with Disney, am I correct?
Yes.
With that. Tell us a little bit about that audition and how things have evolved since then.
So I went to Nashville in 2015 and recorded an EP, and then Disney kind of got wind of it, and so they asked me to come in, and we had a nice interview. And they basically liked me, liked my music, liked what I was about, but just didn't think my music had enough grit to be marketable. They said it was too heartfelt. And so it's
For Disney? Yeah, wait a minute. I thought Disney was about
it's basically
heart.
pushed me to be a different
Wow.
songwriter and to kind of open my eyes a little bit to write different music and different styles, and it's made me better, I feel
And,
like.
Wow.
you know, no matter how many doors we knock on, we can knock on 100 doors, and maybe only 20 will open, but those 20 that open will be the most amazing doorways that you'll ever walk through.
Exactly. That's why everything's an opportunity. You just learn from it and make yourself better as much as you can.
Well, and I have a question. The song that you just sang, it was funny because I'm looking over your bio, and you're from Colorado,
Yeah.
and you're an avid horseback rider, and I couldn't help but, as I'm listening to you sing, I loved it. I just took a deep breath, and I can just picture myself walking out either in the hills or through the fields and just taking a deep breath and then taking in the scenery. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the song you sang for us.
So that song, actually, it's the inspiration for my new album. It's called Rambling Daughter. It's the title track. And so I've been in the music business for 16 years, and so I wanted to write an album worth of music that was about that. And so I wrote this song kind of for everybody that's helped me along the way, and just as a thank you, you know, because I couldn't do what I do without my family and without my friends. And so it's kind of where that came from. I've basically spent my entire life on the road
Well,
playing
and
music.
talking about family, Carin, you know, I was reading your bio earlier. Tell us about, you know, you spent a good part of your career on stage with your family, your two brothers.
Yeah, so for 8.5 years, we toured as Corinne Marie and Pony Express.
I
So we were
love
all
it.
under the age of 16, and we had a lot of fun.
Now, were your brothers younger than you, or?
I've got one older brother and one younger.
Oh, you're like me. You're the middle kid.
Yep.
Smash right in the middle. That can be a good and a bad thing. You just never know.
It worked out for me. I'm the only girl, so.
So they took really good care of you all the
Yes.
time.
Oh,
A little
yes.
too good, I'm sure, sometimes. Like, leave me alone.
That's their job, you know.
Now, you numerous awards. The Entertainer Songwriter of the Year, Female Vocalist and Entertainer of the Year. Is there one of the awards that really sticks out more than all of these numerous awards that I've been reading about?
You know, I don't really know how to answer that. It's been a little while. I guess my favorite award that I didn't actually win was I was on the Texaco Country Showdown, and I came in second place, and that we got to play at the Ryman, and so that was kind of like an award all by itself. So as I said, I did not win the contest, but I got to go to Nashville and be on TV for the first time, and
So it was a win-win
it was
either way.
Yeah, it was a win-win for me. It was probably my biggest accomplishment as far as awards go. Everything else has meant a lot, but to know I made it all the way with my music on this contest, so that was kind of the big
That's
achievement
huge.
for me.
That's absolutely huge. Well, you know, we're really excited about, we heard earlier you have a really special tour coming up this Christmas season. Can you share with our audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm actually on Michael Martin Murphy's Cowboy Christmas Tour right now. We've been on the
We
road
had to
since...
adjust your schedule because of it.
Exactly. You guys have been so great. But we started November 30th, and it ends December 23rd. So actually, here in about an hour, I'm flying back to Dallas to pick
Wow.
back up on this little Christmas tour.
Now, Michael Martin Murphy, I mean, this isn't just the first time you worked with him. He is a mentor of yours.
Yeah, I met Michael when I was 9 years old, and he just kind of took a shine to me, invited me to come up and sing a couple songs with him, and basically we've been best friends ever since. He invited me on my first Christmas tour in 2014, and it's kind of just been one thing after another. He's been great help to me, great mentor, great friend.
Wow. Well, you've had some major success in your career, and you've been working really hard. We're about down to a little bit over a minute left. So, again, we want to ask how to find your music.
Okay, well, you can get my music off of my website directly from me, which is CarinMarieMusic.com.
Okay.
Or off iTunes, Spotify, any of the digital media sites.
Okay, and how about the tour that you're going on? Is there a way to find out where you can see the tour or the tour stops?
MichaelMartinMurphy.com has all the tour dates. I post quite a bit on my social media pages, so if you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Michael does the same thing. So.
Okay. Wow, well, we wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to have a great season. It's the holiday season, and I know it's going to be bless many people because of that. So thank you for joining us on stage.
Thanks so much for having me.
And you know, we're just about out of time. And ladies, it's been a great show so far today. I mean, we've had great guests, great music. Aunt Vicki, final thoughts?
Well, it's been a beautiful day, right from the get-go. We have, a lot of good shows left, but today was really special. Thank you for being part of it.
Yes, thank you.
And we're looking forward to the rest of the week, Becky.
Yes, and Bobbie Jeen, you're heading back over to the Sands, correct? That's where Western Trading Post is at.
Yes, so I will be heading back to the Sands as I walk through, grabbing hugs with all my wonderful friends that are here in Las Vegas.
All right.
And I will see you guys tomorrow.
Sounds wonderful.
We will see you tomorrow, and that is all for She's Gone Country, the CB Cowgirls.
Goodbye, everyone.